everyone to our second Vienna, our Svelte Society Vienna, and I'll be doing a quick introduction to Sveltekit, the easy way. So who is this guy who's talking to you? I'm a husband, father of 4 kids. We recently had our 30-year anniversary. I'm initially started developing in or learned robotics, then joined over to the dark side of development, to web development. I'm currently a dev lead at Emakina, who is an EPA company. I'm a musician. I have 1 studio single because it's really expensive to create quality music. And I'm also one of the founders of Svelte Society Vienna. So to introduce you to this Sveltekit, I brought someone to you. And I want to tell you the story about Franz. Meet Franz. He's a front-end dev, recently started his first front-end development job, and is really passionate about front-end development. Like, wants to be on the edge, wants to be the best at what he does. So one day, he watches that great talk of Rich Harris about rethinking reactivity, where Svelte 3 was introduced, and it blew his mind. And he fell in love with Svelte. But after he watched the talk, he became really sad, because there was no place in any of his projects that he worked on to use Svelte. He had to use other technologies like Angular.js or .NET framework, and he was really, really sad. But one thing that he did is he shared his passion with his peers, and he did some breakfast talks and talked with them about Svelte and told them it's so awesome. But there was a new hope. There was a small project from one customer. There was only for 1 developer. It was supposed to be a single page application. What could be done here? Advent calendar. That's the right present for Christmas, to do a Svelte application right for Christmas. That's easy. And easy it was to implement. And the customer was so happy about this responsive and fast site. So this is how it looked like. But couldn't there be more? What about routing? What about server-side rendering and code splitting? How do I do that just with Svelte? Well, Sapper, that's okay. All the needed features are there, like server-side rendering. You can do static sites with it, with code splitting. You can do a node application, so that's quite okay. But then along came Sveltekit. It's the Sapper at Next, pretty much. It's Sapper on steroids. It's powered by Vue.js, super fast developer experience. And it has even more features. It can deploy to Cloudflare, to Cloudflare pages. It can deploy to Cloudflare workers out of the box, no configuration. It can deploy to Netlify. It can deploy to Netlify pages out of the box, no configuration. What? It can even deploy to Vercel. It can deploy to the edge with Vercel out of the box with, if you want to deploy to the edge, minimal configuration. And there are even more builds. You can do static, you can do node, or write your own adapter, for example, for Azure static sites. So let's start a new project. We have to try this out. So we just select all the we go to C, Svelte is awesome, and run npm create Svelte at latest. We say, yes, we want to proceed and select all the standard configuration. We select the Sveltekit demo app, say, yes, JavaScript with JSDoc, that's totally fine. ESLinting, for trying it out, and pretty for formatting. I mean, who needs formatting anyway? It can be all over the place. And Playwright for testing, what? More about that later. And whoosh, already created. What? It even gives me some information about what I can do next. So let's install dependencies. Whoosh, already done? What? That's so fast in 36 seconds. So let's start development. Woof! I didn't even see the command line there. Already running the dev environment. That was fast. So let's have a quick demo on what comes with this demo app. Let's look at the what, how, and when. So this is our Svelte is awesome demo app. We have a few folders here at .sveltekit, so I guess we don't need to touch that. That's Sveltekit stuff. Internally, we have node modules. All of us know we don't go there. And then there's a source folder and a static folder and some config. Oh, that's already it. Static, of course, all of our static files like favicon, robots.txt. And then in our source, oh, that's more interesting. We have our standard app HTML, which is our base template for all of the pages that we have, all of our routes. And we have some TypeScript configuration out of the box. We also have a lib folder, which is pretty neat because you can access any file that's in here with $lib and then the route name, and it will, no matter where the file is, it will get you the correct version. So the lib folder can be used for components that are shared across multiple pages, or as you can see here, for certain SVG files or PNG or WebP files. So if we take a look at the routes folder, we have some more interesting stuff here. We see in the root folder of routes, we see a lot of different files with the plus prefix. All those plus prefix files are Sveltekit specific. For example, the page and the layout. Page.js runs a load function or has some configuration exported that tells the page like when it is compiling to pre-render. If we take a look at the page.svelte, oh, this looks like our page route. So we have some typical script at the top, then some HTML, and then some style section. The awesome thing about this plus prefix is that it is reserved for only Sveltekit specific files. So you can co-locate the components that are only needed in that route inside the same folder. So you have easy access when you work on your page. You have easy access to all those who are co-located right next to you. There's two more folders. One, there's the About page, and there is another very important thing that we see here. We have the client-side render which we can set to Boolean. And in our case, we take that from the environment. In def environment for hot module reloading, we want it to be on, because if we don't get hot module reloading, and that's just boring development. And we also want to pre-render that page. Yeah, but apart from that, nothing really fancy, just HTML and some metadata. And then there's something that is pretty awesome. There is a Swirl, which is the Svelte version of Wordle. And I think we will start the development server to take a look at it and then try to understand what is happening here. So let's switch over to, let's open it up again. Do it like this. So that's the easier way. So we see Swirl, we have like an input on top. We have a keyboard on the bottom. That looks quite familiar for all of us who played Wordle. But what is happening behind the scenes? So if we take a look at the page.server, oh, that's something new. We have a .server. I guess that will only run on the server. So that's one other nice feature that comes. Oh, come on. Yeah, there you go. That's another nice thing where you can differentiate in Sveltekit and see very easily that your file will only run on the server. So it's really easy to keep your secrets away from the front end and not expose yourself. So what we see here is for the page.server, we get a load function, and we even get some types predefined. Those types are generated on compile time. So if you would have a dynamic route, you would get those dynamic inputs also in the type. So that's quite awesome. So we see here, we start a new game, we have some guesses, answers, and in the new game, up below, we see that there is some actions. We'll take a look in a moment. So what happens when we press a key? How does that look under the hood? English 5-letter word, anyone? Water, perfect. So, oh, that's nice. We are automatically directed to enter. So let's enter. So we already have 2 letters that are either in the right place or the right for the word. Yeah, not in the right place. Cool. So let's go back. So the cool thing, what we see here in the Svelte page is that we just have a form input. And we have this fancy use enhance function that comes out of the box with Sveltekit, where we can run different functionality, and we also have an action available to us. And those actions map one-to-one to the page.server, to those export const actions. So if we take a look at enter, for example, we see that we get a cookie and load our current game state that is only available on the server, so no cheating here. And then we get our form request data, we get our guess, and we just enter the guess into the game. And if it's not right, we return an invalid 400 bad guess. So all of the logic about all of our game logic happens on the server. And when we take another look at our page.svelte, we see that there are many different actions here. So if we search for action, the form action here below for this button is an update. So we could run this whole application even without client-side JavaScript, which could happen if there's a bad connection, for example, or if there's some interesting user who disabled it by accident, maybe. And we can see another form action for restart. So there's in the front end, there's only a display logic happening. And we can totally server-side render the whole app state because we have access to all of the this game state by the data that we pass from the backend server. But the logic of validation happens only on the server. So that is like a quick overview of what you can do in Sveltekit, what comes out of the box in Sveltekit. You have a lot of possibilities. You can do a lot of client-side magic with the use enhance if you want to. If for some reason you don't have access to client-side rendering, it will still work because we just use forms, and those forms work with server-side rendering. So when to use Svelte? That's a very simple question, which I want to answer with a question back at you. When should you not use Svelte? I mean, I don't know. So this was a quick overview, the easy way, an introduction to Sveltekit, and I hope you had some fun. The slides will be up on the website, and thank you all for joining, and enjoy the rest of the evening.